Welcome to the Anxiety Slayer series. Our mission is to assist you with creating more peace and tranquility in your life through anxiety release exercises and supportive tools created to slay your anxiety. Today's Anxiety Slayer podcast is brought to you by the Anxiety Slayer Academy. We've been offering a free podcast for over 8 years to help anyone suffering with anxiety find relief. Now we're helping you go deeper by providing step-by-step support on how you can get the best experience from our favorite tools and techniques for overcoming anxiety. Visit the Anxiety Slayer Academy and get your free Anxiety Slayer starter course at anxietyslayer.teachable.com. Welcome back to Anxiety Slayer. I'm Shan Vanderleek here with my wonderful friend and co-host Ananga Sivyer. We come together weekly to share Anxiety Slayer sessions with you and answer listener questions from our inbox and Facebook page. Together, we share a powerful collection of techniques to reduce anxiety with over 380 podcasts, online courses, and guided relaxation albums. Hi, Ananga. It's great to be with you today for another episode of Anxiety Slayer.
Hey, Shan.
Today, we'll be discussing how to support a teen suffering with anxiety. And the very first thing that we wanted to bring forward is that it's important that a suffering teen has some good, solid, supportive information so that they don't make up the stories that we often hear about anxiety and mental health.
Yeah, I think it's really easy when anyone's suffering with anxiety, particularly a young person, to feel that there's something wrong with us. So really important for adults supporting a teen with anxiety to help them feel secure in the knowledge that anxiety has nothing to do with strength or courage. It's not a weakness of character or a personal flaw. And even if someone is diagnosed with what a doctor might call a disorder, that label doesn't define them.
Oh, without question, anxiety is so much more common than what people understand. Up to 1 in 5 young people struggle with anxiety. And I suspect that number is even higher.
Yeah, me too.
That means in any classroom, there are at least a few students trying to cope with anxiety. And many adults are suffering too. So this is an important time to let your teen know that they're not alone and that they are still a unique and valuable individual, and that suffering with anxiety doesn't define them. It absolutely does not.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message. Often when our children reach teenage years, there's a very common mood that's developed in society that they should now be able to be more independent, figure things out more for themselves, and just sort things out and give the parents a bit of a break. And I've always felt that in those teen years, our children need even more support. It's different to when they were 3 or 4, but they really need the door ajar for conversation and support. So I wanted to bring up a little information on Ayurveda and how Ayurveda regards teen transitions and how we can bear that in mind when offering support. In the earlier stages of life, we're very much finding our feet, and it's very easy for us to experience anxiety from change and uncertainty, new situations, unfamiliarity. Very often teenagers are energetically ungrounded and what Ayurveda would call vata deranged, particularly today with all the social media and devices, phones, all that stuff coming at them and the pressure in school. It really does add to this vata derangement, which greatly increases the potential for anxiety. It increases it in all of us, but teenagers are particularly vulnerable to change and excessive stimulation and it affecting their mental well-being.
I would say that a lot of parents don't understand that or realize that or haven't learned that, even if they've experienced it themselves. Teenagers always get the rap, the bad rap for being manic, or, in one word, they're angry with you, and then the next word, they want you to do something lovely for them, or just labeled so harshly, in my opinion. And to be able to peel back the labels, both for anxiety, this is a tough time. If you think back to your own life and your own experience as a teen, even if you had a really positive experience, I know you can recall the stress and the overwhelm and some of the things that come with wanting to be young, wanting to be a child, and wanting to be a grown up and being somewhere in between. So I think it's important that we just bring that forward and talk about how we can be available for them. How can we support them?
I think you really are at that stage of life in between two worlds. There's a great desire for independence and adventure, and sometimes we think we know it all and we think we don't need help, and then we go out and get in difficulty and come home with our tail between our legs. And sometimes it all feels a bit too much, and teenagers often want to just go back to feeling young. Many of the younger people in my life and in my family will revert back to really sweet things that they used to feel very happy with. So I think it's important that we don't underline that you should be doing this now, you should be able to cope with that. And we
Right.
just keep in mind that it's a real seesaw transition. And there are times when teenagers will feel young and unsure. And there are times when they'll feel adventurous and bold, and swinging between the two is as difficult. It's more difficult for them than it is for us living with it.
It's important to keep the dialogue open with your children or with your nephews, nieces, with any teens in your life, that you can be able to and available to hear them without any judgment. It's important to invite them to perhaps take walks together, getting out in nature. As we've talked about many, many times before, nature calms anxiety and creates a sense of space and time for just easygoing conversation. It's just important that they know we're there for them and that we can be a sounding board, and to come right out and ask.
Yeah.
Ask, would you like to be, is this something you'd like me to help you solve? Is this something you'd like me to just hold space and listen to? And if they don't really know, because that could be the answer too, I don't know, then you just be with them.
Yeah, I think we all struggle greatly with being with. We can't always fix everything.
No, we can't.
A lot of things we can't solve. And I used to feel tremendous pressure when I was young from being what I perceived to be high maintenance and unfixable. And now I know I was sensitive and I was
Sure.
suffering. And it would have been easier if I could have felt at peace with that. So I think, yeah, just that simple, would you like to take a walk? And just be together.
Yeah.
Those things, they don't sound like much, but they can be everything.
Yeah. Making yourself available is huge. And another conversation that can help is talking about how we all experience anxiety sometimes. All of us do. And it might be about different things as we go through different stages in life, but absolutely no one is immune to feeling stressed or to anxiety.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And before judging a young person for fears that might not resonate with us as adults, because we're at different life stages, we might think about the things that younger people are bolder about, like fairground rides.
Oh my
When
goodness.
when I was 18, I could get on this thing that spun you up in the air upside down. Now that I don't know how I did it.
No, you look at the bolts, you look how everything's
Yeah.
put together and you think, not again.
Yeah. So I think that's another important conversation. There aren't many teenagers that are concerned about death and old age and disease. And there aren't many people over 50 that aren't really worried about that.
Sure.
So, different stages, different challenges. It's really helpful to be open without judgment to what anyone's going through with anxiety. One of the most painful things you can receive when you reveal that you're suffering and you're feeling vulnerable is for somebody to say, "Oh, I don't really struggle with that. That doesn't really bother me."
Right.
It's not helpful.
Or even worse, telling him to suck it up or get over it or,
That's the worst.
you know, calm down or what's the matter with you? And it's just not how we need to treat each other, no matter who we're talking about. It's showing up and being available and listening. And I know we've talked about a number of different suggestions, but the big key is to offer your support without any expectations at all. I sometimes find myself a little bit frustrated with my daughter when I have a suggestion that might help her. And I so want her to try it, because I know it might help her. But if she's not ready to try it, you see how I've added the expectation to that? That's my expectation.
Yeah.
All I can do is make a menu of options available, uh, no matter what it might be, whether it be counseling or whether it might be reading a book or some sort of course or breathing exercise or whatever it might be, and then let them figure it out.
When supporting young people with anxiety, I like to offer some suggestions that might be helpful to them. Transportation, if they need a lift somewhere, or
Yeah,
if
sure.
there's something they want to check out but they're a little unsure, happy to go with them. Or maybe sometimes we can just offer financial support if they want to try a course of counseling, or maybe they'd like to learn a martial art, go to a yoga class. Then you can offer them, to sponsor a 6-week course or something and let them choose. Martial arts will really help them, yoga will really help them. If they're drawn to that, let them pick their course. You can offer a little financial help and taxi service, transportation, and encouragement, but we have to let them make the decision. Maybe they
Yeah.
might like to find a local meditation group or support group. Maybe they like to download an app that's going to help them learn mindfulness or breathing techniques. It is very common for us as parents to experience the frustration of whatever we suggest will be rejected. And then, but
Right.
we feel that we have to offer something. I mean, my daughter wasn't particularly keen on using EFT tapping. Her friends were. They'd all come to me and I'd show them tapping, but she wasn't so keen. But she's really does very well with rescue remedy, and she's learnt a few Bach flower remedies that really help her. She's very proactive with those things.
Hmm.
During times of stress, she's learnt a meditation technique that she really likes, and she loves taking walks with me if she's under duress, or anytime taking walks
Yeah.
with me. And we have a chat and a laugh, and that's a really treasured time for both of us. So there's usually something they will take us up on, but we, as you said, offer the menu. And
Let them choose. This morning before Marin went off to school, I asked her some suggestions that she might have for our podcast today, like what does she find really supportive? And the first thing came up was that she has to have her music. She has to have her headset, earphones and her music or earplugs, so that if she's really starting to feel like she just needs to step away from whatever might be happening and just get into the music. Music's
mhm,
been really helpful for her. Also a quiet space, so to have the courage to get up and ask her teacher if she can be excused to go get some space, to get a breath, to change up the scenario and just get grounded, be quiet for a bit and then come back. And in her case and personality style, really just being left alone for a bit to process, in a situation where you're concerned, how can I help you, or what's wrong, or are you okay? Sometimes those things trigger her, and she just needs some space. So we've learned that that's what she asks for, and she'll have some space, and then when she's ready, we'll talk about what is making her anxious or what she's fixating on, and how to help her move beyond it. And so all of those things she's found helpful.
mm. And I can say that all of those things help me too, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's nice to find that common ground. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us when we need to be quiet or we want to put our earplugs in. And I've just had a new packet of lovely soft earplugs delivered today. I'm so excited. But sometimes I'm out and it's just too
Too
much.
much, yeah.
I roll those things up and put them in my ears, and I take a deep breath. And as I exhale, they expand and the noise just goes down. And it's one of the best experiences. And you can get different densities. So if you're concerned about children being able to hear, you can get some that just take things down a bit. There are
Yeah.
some quite cool ones out now for concerts where you can still hear, but they just turn things down enough so that it's quieter and more manageable. And yeah, MP3 player, mine's with me wherever I go. Noise
Yeah.
cancelling headphones. I also carry headphones where I can listen to what I like to listen to and be more available. But the
Mhm.
noise cancelling headphones, they are with me wherever I go, quiet
Yeah.
space to get grounded. These are all really important things. And I think sharing with teenagers that, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea, giving them validation and respect for their choices and letting them come up with some ideas and maybe try some of their ideas
Exactly.
and just let them know that you trust them, that they're intelligent and capable to get through this and work it out, but you're fully present and willing with all your heart to support them if ever they want to have a conversation.
Such a lovely way to support young adults without question. There was an app you and I were talking about earlier that you thought would be a nice recommendation as well. I think it was called Smiling Mind, maybe?
Yeah, there are loads of apps available. Some require a subscription a bit down the line, but this one's free to use. I think it's sponsored by Virgin. Smiling Mind, yeah, it's a free app. It has grounding practices, mindfulness techniques, breathing techniques, sessions on talking about being more comfortable with stress, emotions, and thoughts. And it has sections in there for different age groups. And there's a section for 16 to 18-year-olds in there.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that we had this conversation today. It's really important for young adults to know that they're supported, that there are a number of tools and resources available to them, that they're not alone, and that anxiety and stress they feel does not define them. Get everything you need to start slaying your anxiety today. Visit anxietyslayer.teachable.com to claim our free Anxiety Slayer starter course. You get 4 guided sessions, including an EFT tapping session, guided breathing practice, and special module on overcoming the fear of anxiety. Don't just listen to the Anxiety Slayer podcast. Become an Anxiety Slayer. Claim your free Anxiety Slayer starter course at anxietyslayer.teachable.com.